This week on The Rock.
We take a look at sleep deprivation and its effects on our students.
Next, we profile 2 new art rooms at our school and take a look at some of the work that's being done there.
Finally, we celebrate the 1-year anniversary of the Seahawk Journal.
All that and more this week on The Rock.
Hello AHS and welcome back to The Rock.
I'm John Harrison.
And I'm Mason Bakke.
Hey Mason, you seem a bit tired today. Did you get to sleep on time?
Well, if 2 a.m. is on time, then I guess I did.
Well, it seems like sleep deprivation is a real problem here at AHS.
Aiden Rattel and Abby Davis did some digging to find out what creates this problem.
Starting school at 7:30 in the mornings has its pros and cons. Studies show that teens require 9.25 hours of sleep per night for optimal health. However, that is not always the case for the students at AHS.
On average, I probably get around 6 hours or so.
On average, I get maybe 6. I don't feel like I can focus like as well as I should be able to when I have like a full night's of sleep, but like I'm up doing homework until really late at night, so I'm not able to like stay awake during class.
Sometimes I'm a little bit tired. Kind of makes me a little bit more drowsy throughout the day. I feel like efficiency would be a lot higher if I had 1 or 2 more hours of sleep.
We asked 2 students if starting school at a later time would impact their studies.
Absolutely. It would give students a chance to like wake up earlier in the morning to like do their homework or try to wake up in the morning, and like they would advance their education.
I would appreciate a later start time, even by just an hour, because students can even like utilize it to do other things like I don't know, they can go to the gym.
I feel like it would just give them a better opportunity to understand like teachers or get the concept of ideas in classrooms, to have like a better clear mind when you have a better sleep.
Later start times have been debated by the Anacortes School District for several years now. Dr. Wenzel, the superintendent, as well as the school board, has been discussing the idea and how to best implement the changes.
About 18 months ago, a couple of parents came and saw me, and they had a petition with 200 signatures on it. And this was a petition that asked for the district to consider moving to a late start time. The main benefit is that the research shows that teen brains change, that teens go to bed later, and therefore early start times are really hard. And we see that at school at 7:30 in the morning. Kids aren't quite awake yet. And so the main benefit is that the research shows that later start times do indeed lead to more sleep for teens. So we sent a survey to students, parents, and staff, and got a lot of response back, and in general the main feedback was 60% in favor, 40% against. The timeline is not officially set yet, but we do plan to have the board discuss this in the next 2 to 3 months. We think we're going to be reaching out to those groups to get feedback early next year, and it could be, if we can arrive at something that works, we could implement it next school year.
Having a later start time would really switch things up around here.
But we don't need to worry about that right now, as nice as it would be. There's still a lot of new developments this year that we haven't taken a look at yet on The Rock.
Well, the visual arts programs are getting into full swing. John Harrison made a segment highlighting how the new rooms are helping with student creativity.
That's me!
The transition to the new art wing has given many improvements to the 2D and 3D art spaces. We spoke to Mr. Delutri and Ms. Birkland on how their new rooms compare to the old school.
New features, we have 2 new kilns, and now we are waiting for the exhaust to be installed, so once that happens, we're able to fire up everything and continue forward.
In this classroom, one of the more important aspects of it was the lighting. We have full spectrum LED lights, and those are all controllable, so I can turn them up, I can turn them down, I can dim them. Being able to control the lighting in the room is kind of game-changing when you're teaching art.
One of the standout features to them are the massive smartboards that take center stage in their classrooms.
The smartboard features are amazing, you know, the ability to touch the screen, enlarge or shrink what it is you're looking at.
I really enjoy being able to communicate what I'm interested in a really strong visual setting.
With brand new spaces, both teachers admit that most problems were thought of ahead of time.
My classes are a little more crowded than I'm comfortable with, but you know, that's not a bad thing.
I miss being able to walk out the back door and literally have my car right there, because I bring a lot of stuff from home, and so hauling stuff from the street is a little different from hauling it, you know, 5 feet from your door.
We also wanted to check in with longtime students to see what their favorite features of the new spaces are.
There's a lot more space to do your own thing. We have bigger boards, so we can put it in the spaces we need.
I have a whole cabinet to myself as I'm in AP Studio Art, and it's just been really nice because the organization has been better and there's not any stealing of paintbrushes or losing supplies or anything.
The 2D and 3D art classes are important in letting students express their creativity, and new rooms will certainly give them the tools they need to flourish in their respective mediums. For the Rock at Anacortes High School, I'm John Harrison.
I'm looking forward to seeing how these new spaces influence student art.
Yeah, me too. Hey, speaking of student achievements, the Seahawk Journal has been online for a year now. It's their 1-year anniversary.
That's awesome. They're a great resource for more student news.
Mason Blackburn and Wade Miller made a segment highlighting their accomplishments.
I joined Journalism Club last year when it first opened up, when it first started, I guess, because I just love writing and I heard about it and I wanted to join and try something new since I've never really written for a newspaper before.
That in the past year we're just kind of been getting on our feet, but there have definitely been some great writers, great photographers, and also great leaders for like starting the first year of our club. Abby Davis was really instrumental in that, as well as Andrew Eggegaard, and then also our advisors are Thompson and McCartney.
Starting with the fact that we got off the ground. We published our first article on October 24th of 2017, just more than a year ago. And since then, things are in motion. We have various writers, various types of articles coming in, a good variety, and now when we meet, we're talking about ideas as opposed to what should we call our paper or what different categories of news should we have.
The highlights of the club for me is probably the writing itself and then also reading other people's stories, because a lot of the times they're about topics that I probably wouldn't have even thought about writing. And so I think the most popular stories are opinion stories, because we get a lot of those. They're our most common written stories, I would like to say.
So a feature is a story that you do more in-depth research on. One feature I wrote last year was about salmon farming, or just fish farming in the Pacific Northwest. I like writing features, but I really like editing some of our student life stories. I just edited a piece by Lily and Claire that was about moving across the country, and they both moved from the south to Anacortes, so that was really interesting to read, and I hope everyone else reads it too. It's a great piece.
The Seahawk Journal has been around for a little over a year now, and in that time they have amassed over 10,000 views. With stories ranging from moving across the country to your local salmon farm. There's more to come on SeahawkJournal.com. And from our rock to yours, I'm Mason Blackburn.
The Journalism Club meets every second and fourth weekend of the month. Be sure to check it out.
It's so cool to see students following their passions.
It really is. Well, that wraps up our show for today.
Be sure to check back next week.
If you'd like to give any suggestions or comments, be sure to send them our way to therock@asd103.org. We'd love to hear your input.
I'm Mason Bakke.
And I'm John Harrison.
And from our rock to yours, have a great day, AHS.
This week on The